5 minutes before the session is over. Okay, without further ado, the first speakers from Tharaversa Technologies. Please welcome.
Tes. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Akita Verslita. You may call me Akita. And I'm on behalf of Tharaversa Technologies. We are a company which consists of researcher, business development, and also IT specialists. And in this occasion, I would like to present and to share about one of the most important aspects in DRR or disaster risk reductions, which is the vital role of infrastructure, digital infrastructure for resilience, and how we can rethink the processes and experiences that we have earlier, especially during the catastrophe of pandemic coronavirus or COVID-19. So before I would start, I would like to maybe ask one of two participants of how they perceive digital transformation, for instance. May anyone would like to share what's digital transformations or digital technology? Anyone? Maybe gentlemen here, would you like to answer? Bapak, what's your name and where are you coming from?
Okay, my name is
Bisa kayak.
okay. My name is Budaya. I'm from Muhammadiyah Disaster Management Center or MDMC. In this pandemic area, I think the most behavior transform that in this pandemic that's big now because now time more to know about technology.
Yes.
Time to because we have to keep the distance, so we must try to not to get involved with much people. So a lot of meeting we have considered by Zoom or the others application, and then most of the product that we must need using the application.
Peduli Lindungi.
Peduli Lindungi, more paperless, it must be better. Jadi karena semua pakai aplikasi, kita jadi mengurangi kertas dan produk-produk,
gitu ya.
sampah-sampah jadi berkurang. Itu kemudian sekarang ini jadi kita jadi lebih aware gitu ya dengan dalam situasi kayak gini. Perangkat-perangkat yang kemudian kita butuhkan untuk kita bisa menjangkau sesuatu yang sekarang jadi lebih mudah gitu.
Okay. But so you mentioned that now during the pandemic, your organization is using virtual conference such as Zoom
Yes.
meeting, for example, and then there will be less paper, which is more sustainable for the environment.
Yes.
I may say. So do you think that MDMC has adopted the digital transformation during the pandemic or even before the pandemic?
Yes, in this pandemic, we have transferred our program that MDMC focus on disaster response. In this pandemic, we try to using the application or how to make the respond to controlling and evaluation disaster in Indonesia. A lot of product that we like using survey 123 or something that RG system. We using this in this pandemic.
Oke, thank you so much Bapak.
You're
Please give
welcome.
big applause to Bapak siapa? Mohon maaf.
Barori.
Pak
Rory.
Barori,
Iya.
Pak Rory. Thank you so much, Pak Rory. So, based on Pak Rory experience in MDMC, we can say that even before the pandemic of COVID-19, his organization has adopted technology. Is there anyone who would like to share the same cases in the organization? No? Okay, then I will proceed. So, based on Pak Rory case, we can say that before the pandemic, they already adopt such a survey, digital survey, etc. So it's such a nice to have features. But after the pandemic, after everyone has to be social distance and work from home, it become an urgency to adopt the technology. So in here in GPDRR, it says that from risk to resilient. But from a technology sector point of view, I would say it's more to from convenient to urgent. So maybe we can go to next slide. So yes, next slide please. In this presentation, I would like to share how technology interfere in disaster management or disaster risk reductions. Maybe everyone here has been very familiar with these four pillars here. First is risk identification, where there are few or several features here from the booths that exhibit how technology has been able to identify the risk or the upcoming disaster. For example, the alarm system or early warning system or sensor motions. So what are the requirements to be able for the risk identification? So for these first pillars of risk identification, of course, there will be some mapping. There will be requirement for to develop some database, and then also to be able to mapping the participatory, I'm sorry, from the related stakeholders, and also the big data. Most of Indonesians nowadays has been very familiar with the term big data, big data, big data. But big data is not that simple. If I might to explain you what is big data and how we can utilize it, it's not as so simple. So everyone that has familiar with the term of artificial intelligence or machine learnings is not as easy as it sounds. It's not only robots, but also be able to predict or identify the upcoming risks. But the way it works is like this, ladies and gentlemen. So we teach the computers to learn by themselves. How? It's by giving them a lot of data, thousands or millions of data. And we have to be able to manage them and to use them as a useful data. For example, it's like this. There are ladies and gents here. And then we can say that every time GPDRR is conducted, usually only 30% ladies, 70% male, for example. Only by using one event, we cannot use any artificial intelligence or machine learning or any kind of big data because the data is not enough. Data is only extracted by one event. But if GPDRR is conducted, like for example, 1,000 times, then we can teach our machines or computers that based on the participatory data, then they can use and process the data using the the sequence and also the repetitive aspects of the data itself. And the second pillar is the risk reductions. You all understand what is the risk reductions. There are some kind of aspects that will be involved, such as ecosystem in management and adaptation, communication network, application of software system and solutions, and also test and implementation. in risk reduction, I always emphasize of how test and implementation is very, very crucial in disaster risk reductions. Why is that? Because sometimes when we innovate a system, sometimes as a founder, we think that, oh, this is the best system. This is the best system that can solve any problems that we aim. But it's not like that. If we, for example, I used to be involved in the Associasi Logistik Indonesia. In the early pandemic, I also involved with BNPB to create a roadmap for the sterile logistic roadmap. And even when we think that we have the good system, the best roadmap for the sterile logistics, in the field it's not as simple as that. So we have to implement that. And to be able to reduce the risk, we have to test it first before we put it into the implementation or to the field. And the third is the preparation. That could be coordination of the resources, and then the knowledge management platforms, using the tools, and also how we can use the social media, and etc. And then the fourth will be financial protections. This could be using the blockchain, which is Web3. Maybe some of us are not familiar with blockchain, but I will go to that. And then the insurance model, micro insurance model. And the fifth is the resilient recovery, such as unmanned aerial vehicles, coordinations of the tools, etc. And yeah, maybe we can go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, I have mentioned that technology is crucial, technology is important, but what are the challenges? We always say that it's really good to adapt advanced technology. It's really good to have the best technology. It's really good to partner with the stakeholders that is having better at technology. But there are some challenges. For example, unprecedented hazards such as cybercrime, cyber terrorism, and cyber security issue. Why is that? Because by the end of the day, disaster affect every aspect in the livelihood. So when we are weak, some people who are evil enough are ready to attack us. And one of them is through technology or through the system that we have. So it's really dangerous because we are not at our best performance. That's why security is one of the most important things to be able to mitigate in the adaptation of technology. And the second is distortion of communication and information. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe everyone here have social media accounts or using WhatsApp on daily basis. I do too, and even for this Panggung Resilience, we use only WhatsApp and Zoom to be able to arrange this kind of massive event. But it's really, really important to note that everyone now become their own self-broadcaster. Everyone is able to create any hoax, any kind of false information, and it is as easy as on their tip of the fingers. So I'm sure that in the early of pandemic, everyone was like having two sides of coin. They say vaccine is not good. Vaccine is good. Vaccine can kill us. Vaccine can protect us, make us a superhuman. It is as easy as that to distort the information through our social media. But the good thing is, even social media is allowing us, the stakeholder who participate in the disaster risk reductions, to be able to have a standpoint. For example, BNPB now during the pandemic has become the main focal point of the information of COVID-19. That's how a government agency will be able to use their standpoint to be able to spread or disseminate the information for the public. But yeah, so, and the fourth would be rapid changes. This is one of the most important thing to note because technology always change. It can change every week, every month, every year. The technology that we have now and technology we have 5 years ago is totally different. Probably 3 years ago, not everyone in here knowing about what is Zoom is. But see how technology is very, very important for us. We cannot live without Zoom meetings. Every day we have Zoom meetings. But the downside is, especially for the government agency, is that these rapid changes of how dynamic the technology advancement is should be able to be followed with the rapid changes or agile regulatory framework. And I believe that many organizations, especially governments, not only that, could be CSOs or private sectors as well, they adjust their framework to be agile and to be able to adapt to the technology that they are currently using. Back then, every time the head of a company they meet, they have to meet with the very long protocols for the security system, etc. Now they can use it through technology. And if the regulation doesn't allow that, it's not going to happen. So, and the fourth challenges would be require high adaptability. So, it is very important as well to know that the authorities or the entities or the body or the person will be able to cope up with the technology itself. And they have to be able not only to follow the technology or to use it, but also to be able to think effectively, to adapt efficiently, and also to working with the current new technology. So, for example, we all know that currently there is the term of digital native or digital born, which is probably 2000 something, and they are currently going for to apply in everyone's organization right now, and they born with the internet in their plate, yeah. So it is very different with what baby boomers had back then. Baby boomers hate technology. They don't know how to do this. They don't know how to do that. But if the head of an organization wouldn't be able to adapt to the technology and this new wave of demography, then it is more difficult to establish a good systematic technological advancement and to adapt it in the organization. To that extent, I think everyone, every layers of the organization should have the agility of the thinking to be able to agile, to open their mind that it is always changing and it is always giving a huge impact on how the governments work. So we understand that the SDG itself is no one left behind, right? Whether the youths, the elder, any generations, they cannot be left behind. So I hope that technology would be able to be bridged on that, but currently it's still a challenge, especially in Indonesia. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. So what would I recommend for this? Yes, it might sound easy to have this kind of slide, but let me try to share it with you in a easy way. For example, the first would be plan ahead. Sometime when we understand there is a potential disasters or the inconvenient situation upcoming to us, we should plan ahead. It could be the resources, the partnership, or probably the budget. Because the technology, especially for disaster risk reductions, sometimes it is thought that, oh, it's not important, it's not happening yet. Why are we using drone? Why are we using drone nowadays that we have a lot of manpower to carry the logistics to the field? Yes, that's why we need to plan ahead, especially on the budgeting side. And the second is to build a systemic response. That's including the partnership of the stakeholders, or the how we can use a network of communication, and it's also be easier with the use of technology. And the third is to protect critical and vital infrastructure. I would share to you one of my experience nowadays. One of my partner in Tharaversa Technology is a Sri Lankan. Now we all know that Sri Lankan is in a huge crisis. It's chaos there. And everyone are like not in a good conditions. The people topple down the government and all. But using the technology, my partner still able to work for a project in Indonesia, even though it's chaotic. So the most important thing is that we have to protect this strategic support for digital infrastructure. For example, the internet connection, the tower, the electricity, etc. And the fourth would be to fulfill the gap of technology. What is the gap of technology? We all know that not everyone is as fortunate as us to be able to have stable internet access, to have the electricity to charge our phone, or to just jump into any social media platform at any time. But many people in the rural areas, they are still hard to have the access to technology. That's why one of the most important thing is to fulfill the gap in technology by giving them basic internet access or maybe technology access. And the fourth is the involvement of the society and stakeholders. Now that in this event, I have shared to you what is the challenges, what we can do, and now we have to think what we can contribute. Because as I say in the beginning that technology in disaster risk reduction is no longer nice to have. It is an urgency. But even if it is an urgency, it is still difficult if we cannot contribute our own power and resources for the establishment of effective and efficient digital infrastructure for disaster risk reductions. I think that's all for us, from me. So would there be anyone who would like to ask or share maybe any case or stories in organization, how they adapt to digital technology? Anyone? Yes, Bu. Sorry.
Does Tharaversa is actually looking into helping or developing tools for humanitarian actors in building their capacity, such as the technology for doing the training, for example, which is actually much more easier, and it can be done by almost everyone who has the handphone, for example.
Okay. Thank you, Ibu. Bu Titi ya. Thank you so much, Bu Titi. So, from Tharaversa Technologies, we are not only IT developers. For example, I used to have an NGO called WeMove.id. We help on the earthquake for Palu and Lombok. So back then we think that, we can bring our own logistics to help the people who are suffered from the earthquake. But now, after I think about that, it's really inefficient because not everyone is able to have the resources as I have to help other people. So I think the technology would be the easiest one. But to answer your question, Bu Titi, yes, Tharaversa can do that. Because why? Because we have hands-on experience on how to handle disasters. Even during COVID-19, we help to build what it called distribution management solutions, where we track ambulances in Singapore to help people in the region. So that's one of the things. So I think for a company like Tharaversa Technology or any other company, it's not only the skill of technology that is required for DRR, Bu, but also the hands-on experience on how to handle DRR on the field, especially during this disaster. So for example, if we think about how the pandemic has changed us, and there are currently another potential pandemic has been reported, maybe we can have to learn from the COVID-19 pandemic to prevent other kind of pandemic. And yes, I think technology nowadays is very accessible to everyone, especially when we can use the the previous case into what we can do next. So yes, we would like to support. So yeah, so I think that's one of the most important thing, yeah, ladies and everyone. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all from me. Please, I would be really happy to collaborate with anyone. You may scan here or you can say hi to me. I would be able to share you the same. So I would like to collaborate and I would like to hear interesting cases and how we can create and to rethink the processes of how we use digital technology, especially for disaster risk reduction. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you from